Man did not and does not naturally eat wood. The ability to directly use as fuel wood and other plant tissues whose principal molecule is cellulose falls in fact to only a very few microorganisms, certain bacteria, protozoa, and fungi. Man's whole physical makeup, digestive apparatus, mouth parts, shape and arrangement of arms and legs, posture, body temperature, everything has been developed and is arranged for the consumption of a great variety of other substances, to the definitive exclusion of wood. There is literally nothing to indicate that there is anything natural about man's wood-eating activities. And yet, an unbounded curiosity, a dominant will, and a marvelously adaptable brain and physical structure have not only urged him into wood-eating, but have prompted him to develop a form of digestion suited to his needs in the new element, the cellulose molecule, repository of over half of all organic carbon in the biosphere. He has found sustenance, relaxation, and enjoyment in the experience, but at the same time, experience has taught him that in wood-eating there are limits beyond which he cannot safely go, and that there is a certain amount of knowledge of the properties of wood and wooden structures which he must acquire. Everyone knows certain basic facts about wood and its consumption. An object, wooden or otherwise, which becomes lodged in the trachea or windpipe, will suffocate a person if the airway is completely blocked for a more or less indefinite period of time, a few seconds in some cases, minutes in others. Care must be taken in the use of power-assisted mouthparts to ensure that small bits of wood and other particulate matter, commonly known as sawdust, are introduced into the mouth only at a rate appropriate to the individual's capacity for swallowing, to prevent them from collecting and presenting an obstruction to breathing. Likewise, it is well known that a great number of objects which surround us in our daily lives are composed wholly or in part of wood or some wood derivative, qualifying them in essence as potential items to be eaten. Any amount of reflection will serve to remind us, however, that a wooden spoon, which loses most or all of its broad, concave portion, will be deprived of its useful functioning, thereby ceasing, in some sense, to be a spoon. These facts are fundamental and well known and need only to be repeated to children as they come to the age of understanding to ensure a certain amount of wood-eating safety to the race. But this is not enough. Every year, people do an enormous amount of damage by eating out the interior of beams, floors, telegraph poles, destroying furniture, boring galleries through and through stored books and papers, and ruining many other articles in which their presence was not suspected until no more than a shell remains. The record down through the ages of the millions crushed, having precipitated the collapse of their own houses and apartment buildings despite this basic knowledge, bears witness to the fact that there are other factors to be considered. Consider, for example, that I can say, "I wish I liked jazz," and you will more likely nod sympathetically than take what I have said for an error in sentence construction. Or that seated next to you, I can be gripped by the acute longing to get to the room that you're sitting in. Perhaps if one of us left the room and came back in, we would get a different result. Perhaps on the second try, you would light up, I would light up, and we would both don vests made of flowers and do little dances and be racked with great sobs of joy, having shed the notion that life is elsewhere, that there is always something missing.